the farmers who are indulging in growing of tobacco. In our country today, sir, we have 6 million farmers who are dependent on tobacco crop. And we have 20 million laborers who are dependent on this crop. And above this, we have about 36 million people who are indulging in processing or exports and so on and so forth. So I would only like to appeal, sir, through you to the Honorable Union Minister for Finance, that along with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and also with Agriculture, to ensure that the security of these farmers are kept intact and the issues relating to them would be taken into mind, keeping the fact in mind that the farmers are not averse to any decision that the government would take that is related to the health of the country, but rather they would definitely seek support from the central government when it comes to crop diversification. There was once upon a time the initiative that was taken to diversify farmers who were indulgent in tobacco growth, and about, I'm subject to correction, around 110,000 and odd hectares have today, acres have actually, farmers have actually diversified about 110,000 and odd acres of land to various other crops. But however, I think the other 6 million farmers that I'm talking about today, the interest of these farmers need to protect it is a strong appeal and prayer that I have to the Honorable Minister, sir. Therefore, sir, having gone into every minute details, we must realize that this calibrated tax adjustment fiscal step, this is to ensure that we have a more healthier and a more productive, because today, when we talk of the youth, the young population in the world, India out of 65% of India's population is under 35 years of age. And when we say they are under 35 years of age, we're actually talking about a large pool of human resource who can actually become very productive for our country. Therefore, sir, this is to ensure that we have a healthier and a more productive human resource pool who would help us in realizing that the dream that we have before us, and that is to achieve a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Thank you, sir.
Sri Karti Chidambaram ji.
Thank you, sir. This bill is being brought to compensate the cessation of the compensatory cess on tobacco products. I understand the logic of why this bill is being brought, and I accept the logic which the Finance Minister has stated. The statement of objects and reasons clearly says the aim is to protect tax incidents and maintain revenue from tobacco after compensation cess is discontinued. So there is a logic in why this bill is being brought, and I accept that logic. When Dr. Purandeshwari spoke before me, she alluded to the problem. She actually did allude to the problem, but she did not come to the solution of the problem. The problem is, as she rightly said, we have 1.35 million deaths in India because of tobacco use. In fact, 27% of all cancer cases is because of tobacco. Young people, the age between 13 and 15, 8.5% of them use tobacco products. The economic loss for our country because of the use of tobacco is nearly 2 lakh crores annually. So tobacco has a huge cost on this nation. I'm not suggesting that we ban cigarettes. I mean, that never works. Prohibition never works. I know this government is sometimes very fond of banning things. I'm not suggesting we ban anything. Banning will never work. It only push things to the underground market, to the black market, and people who are addicted will somehow find a way to get it. In fact, there is a contrary thought when every time we see when these spurious liquor cases happen in India, why are people consuming spurious liquor? It's a little contrarian and might be even controversial what I say. It is because regular liquor is not affordable, they go and buy spurious liquor, which is cheaper. So by thinking that by increasing prices on sin products like tobacco products, you will actually lower consumption is wrong. What will happen is this will go into there'll be spurious manufacturers, people will find alternatives. I'm not suggesting you lower taxes, but I'm saying that by increasing taxes, if you think you're going to lower consumption, that doesn't work at all. In fact, we really need to think this very, very carefully, sir. While I understand the logic of this government of raising taxes, of compensatory taxes, and I'm not just, this is the topic which is beyond politics, which is tobacco usage. There is no partisan view in this. We as a society must really think about this. Successive governments have only used tobacco products to increase more revenue. But we have never addressed the problem which tobacco is causing. As Dr. Purandeshwari said, there are 6 million farmers who are cultivating tobacco. There are 20 million laborers who are working in these tobacco lands. And there are more than 35-40 million people who are involved in the industry. We are not thinking of how to move them to other sectors. No government has come up with any plan on how to migrate farmers from tobacco to other crops. What will people involved in the tobacco industry, can they be migrated to another industry? What are we doing to reduce consumption of tobacco? We don't think of all that. While we say it is bad, we keep taxing it, we keep getting more revenue, but we never really address the problem. And just by raising taxes on it, if we think we're going to reduce consumption, that's also not going to happen. So I think its time has come for us. And successive governments have failed. I'm not ever only pointing at this government. No government has come up with anything holistic to stop or to reduce tobacco usage. What are we going to do to reduce usage of tobacco? How do we discourage people from using tobacco? That there is no blueprint. This government has no blueprint for it. There is no roadmap for it, except for saying that we will tax it, and you are having these statutory warnings on these tobacco products. I don't think there has been any study which has said because of those graphic statutory warnings on tobacco products, actually tobacco usage has gone down. So the real problem here is how do we address tobacco usage? How do we reduce tobacco usage? And how do we migrate people who are involved in the tobacco industry into other sectors? And the finance minister must also tell us, by increasing this excise duty, if the prices go up, will it lead to counterfeiting? Will it lead to black market? Because there is something known as a Laffer curve in economics. If you keep on increasing taxes, compliance goes down. So is there a point where the finance minister believes that beyond this, if we increase, it will actually lead to more black marketeering? And what kind of, will it only lead to more avoidance of tax as opposed to revenue collection? While I understand the logic of the government to bring about this compensatory excise increase to offset the cess, they really need to come up, and particularly the government must come up with a holistic plan on how to reduce tobacco usage, how to migrate people who are working in the tobacco sector to other sectors. That is the real problem, and not merely tinkering on all these things and just increasing revenue. While I understand the logic of why this is being brought, but we should keep the big picture in mind. Thank you very much, sir.
श्री नरेश चंद उत्तम पटेल जी।
अनवर सभापति महोदय, मैं माननीय वित्त मंत्री श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमण द्वारा प्रस्तावित केंद्रीय उत्पाद शुल्क अधिनियम 1944 में संशोधन करने वाले विधेयक 2025 किए जाने के संदर्भ में अपना विचार व्यक्त करना है। मानवर, मैं इस सदन में न तो किसी बड़े उद्योगपति की और न किसी बहुराष्ट्रीय कंपनी की, बल्कि उन लाखों गुमनामों हाथों की आवाज़ बनकर आया हूँ जो सुबह 4 बजे से तंबाकू की पत्ती तोड़ते हैं, जो रात के अंधेरे में लालटेन की रोशनी में बीड़ी लपेटते हैं, जो सुपारी के बगीचों में दिन रात मेहनत करते हैं, और जिनके घर की चूल्हा इन्हीं छोटे छोटे कारोबारों से चलता है। ये वो लोग हैं जिनका नाम ना तो अखबारों में छपता है, न टीवी पर दिखता है, लेकिन इनके पसीने से इस देश की अर्थव्यवस्था में हर साल हजारों करोड़ का योगदान आता है। आज सरकार इन्हीं लोगों की रोजी रोटी पर भारी टैक्स और नया स्वास्थ्य सेस थोपने जा रही है, बिना इनकी एक बार सुनवाई किए बिना। महोदय, हमारे इलाके में तंबाकू की खेती होती है और मानवर सरकार तंबाकू, बीड़ी, गुटखा और पान मसाला पर नया टैक्स लगाने की बात कर रही है। ये नियम बिना पूरे सोच विचार के गरीब मजदूर किसानों की हालत देखे बिना लाए जा रहे हैं। महोदय, मेरे जिले फतेहपुर में उत्तर प्रदेश के आसपास तंबाकू की खेती बहुत बड़े तादाद पर होती है। मानवर, छोटे किसान, मजदूर, महिलाएं, कुटीर उद्योग, बड़े, जब टैक्स एकदम बढ़ा दिया जाएगा तो बड़ी कंपनियां तो संभाल लेंगी, लेकिन छोटे किसान और छोटे उद्यमी बुरी तरीके से दब जाएंगे। ऊपर से महंगाई बढ़ेगी, बाजार छोटा होगा और किसानों की खरीद कम हो जाएगी। नया सेस मशीन के हिसाब से लगेगा, इससे छोटे कारखाने, पत्ती छटाई वाले यूनिट और घरों में काम करने वाले परिवारों पर ज्यादा बोझ पड़ेगा। सरकार कह रही कि स्वास्थ्य का फायदा होगा, पर गांव का सच ये है कि मजदूर किसान का रोजगार पहले से ही कमजोर है। ये कदम और चोट करेगा। मानवर, हमारी मांग है कि इसे जल्दबाजी में पास न किया जाए। और मानवर, आज हमारे देश के अंदर एक झटके में 28% जीएसटी के ऊपर 50-60% का सेस और मशीन आधारित कर लगा देंगे तो क्या होगा? बड़ी कंपनियां तो अपना दाम बढ़ाकर निकाल लेंगी, लेकिन छोटी बीड़ी कारखाने, पत्ती छटाई वाले सेठ जहां 15 से 20 हजार बीड़ी रोज लपेटने वाली महिला, ये सब बर्बाद हो जाएंगे। मानवर, ये स्वास्थ्य के लिए है, लेकिन अध्यक्ष जी, स्वास्थ्य तभी सुधरेगा जब 2 वक्त की रोटी मिलेगी। मानवर, मेरी मांग है कि इस विधेयक को स्थायी समिति को भेज दिया जाए। तंबाकू किसानों, बीड़ी मजदूरों, सुपारी उत्पादकों और छोटे उद्योगों के प्रतिनिधियों को बुलाकर सुनवाई की जाए।
इससे राज्य
मशीन आधारित न करके,
पटेल जी, इससे राज्य को भी नुकसान होगा। ये जो कंपनसेशन सेस है उसका हिस्सा राज्य को ही जाएगा।
आपके जिले में धान होता है मानवर, और धान की वो बर्बादी है, आप बोल नहीं रहे कुछ। धान 1600-1700 में लिया जा रहा है, 2369 रुपए एमएसपी है। आप भी तो ध्यान दिया करिए, आप इधर बैठते हैं तो क्या हुआ, लेकिन धान के आप किसान हैं, आपके जिले में धान हो रहा है। मानवर, मेरी बात यह है कि प्रभावित राज्यों के साथ मिलकर वैकल्पिक फसल और रोजगार की ठोस योजना बनाई जाए। जल्दबाजी में विधेयक पास हुआ तो गांव का गरीब आदमी एक बार फिर कुचला जाएगा। अतः मानवर, मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहता हूं कि इस देश में अगर ये महंगा हो जाएगा तो विदेशी कंपनियां यहां पर स्मगलिंग कराएंगी और स्मगलिंग के माध्यम से इस देश का उत्पाद कम खराब हो जाएगा। मानवर, आज हमारे देश में भारी वृद्धि कानून को सिगरेटों का महंगा बना सकती है, जिससे विदेशी स्मगलिंग ब्रांडों की खपत होगी। मानवर, सस्ते उत्पादों की ओर रुझान बढ़ सकता है जो स्वास्थ्य जोखिम बढ़ाते हैं और कर संग्रह को नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं। मानवर, इस विधेयक में ऐसे श्रमिकों, किसानों के लिए जो संक्रमण योजना या सुरक्षा प्रावधान नहीं है, जिनकी आजीविका इस पर क्षेत्र आधारित है। कर वृद्धि की प्रभावशीलता की समीक्षा का मानवर अभाव है। विधेयक में यह नहीं है कि सरकार खपत, अवैध व्यापार या राजस्व पर बड़े प्रभाव का नियमित आकलन करेगी, जो नीति निर्माण के लिए आवश्यक। मानवर, कृषि मंत्री जी यहाँ बैठे हैं। मध्य प्रदेश के अंदर सबसे ज्यादा तंबाकू का काम होता है, बीड़ी के पत्ते काम होता है। मानवर, उन गरीबों की हालत को ध्यान देना चाहिए, उस पर विचार करना चाहिए। और ये विशेषज्ञ भी हैं, मुख्यमंत्री जी रहे हैं। मानवर, इन लोगों बैठ करके इसके बारे में ठीक से विचार किया जाए, ताकि छोटे किसानों का और जो तंबाकू उत्पादक हैं, बाद में मशीनों में वो प्रोसेस होती है, वो अलग विषय है, लेकिन मानवर उन छोटे लोगों पर बहुत भारी बोझ पड़ेगा। इसलिए मेरी मांग है मानवर कि इसको स्थायी समिति को भेज दिया जाए। धन्यवाद मानवर।
श्री सौगत राय जी।
Sir, I rise to speak on the Central Excise Amendment Bill 2025 brought forward by the Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Once again, it has fallen on the Finance Minister to mobilize resources for the government, due to which she has brought about this bill. It has been stated in the statement of objection reasons that with the GST, Central Excise Act was repealed by Section 174 of Central GST Act, accepting respect of goods listed under entry 84 of List 1 of 7th Schedule to the Constitution. This includes tobacco and tobacco products. With the levy of GST and compensation cess on tobacco and tobacco products, the rates of central excise duties were reduced significantly to allow for levy of compensation cess without large impacts. So in order to expand the financial space, fiscal space, to increase the rate of central excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products so as to protect tax incidents, it is imperative to amend the table in section 4 of the 4th schedule to the Act. Now, why this was brought about? Sir, products such as cigarettes, cigars, hookah, tobacco, chewing tobacco, zarda and scented tobacco currently attract 28% GST, plus a hefty compensation cess that varies by product and in some cases goes as high as 290%. This cess was originally introduced in 2017 to compensate states for the GST-related revenue loss and was extended until March 2026 to help repay loans taken during the COVID period. With loan repayments expected to be completed. So this will be completed by December. Compensation cess will cease. To prevent a sudden fall in tax incidence on tobacco, government plans to replace the cess with a new central excise duty. The bill seeks to give the government the fiscal space to increase the rate of central excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products so as to protect tax incidence according to the statement of objection reasons. The change aligns with the GST Council's September decision to discontinue the compensation cess on all goods except tobacco and transition to a two-rate GST structure while reserving a 40% slab for ultra-luxury and thin goods. Now, if enacted, this bill will replace the GST compensation cess on tobacco with a central excise duty. Allow the centre to revise excise rates to match current local total taxation levels, ensure revenue neutrality by keeping the tax burden on thin goods. Thin goods, as you know, costly cars and all that, unchanged. Create a permanent taxation structure instead of temporary cess and maintain tobacco under the highest GST bracket of 40% once the rationalized slabs take place. In any case, we are opposed to cess because cess is wholly consumed by the central government. The states do not get any part of it. Now, under the new law, this will replace the GST compensation cess on tobacco with the central excise duty. Allow the centre to devise excise rates to match total taxation levels, ensure revenue neutrality, etc. Now, there are two bills. After this will come the bill on pan masala, which the minister, for her own reasons, pan masala tax will be helping both health and defense, national security. What I'll discuss that when that bill comes up. Now, this will ensure the total tax incidence on tobacco and pan masala remains unchanged, replace the compensation cess with a permanent excise duty, introduce a new machine capacity cess on pan masala to bolster public health, prevent revenue loss to the centre once the compensation cess ends, which will end by the end of this year. This bill will formally extend the compensation cess on tobacco products such as cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, and zarda. The central will gain authority to impose and revise a new central excise duty on tobacco under the amended Central Excise Act 44. The aim is to keep the overall incidence of tobacco, currently a mix of GST and compensation cess, at the high level even after the cess expires. Now, what was the logic behind compensation cess? It was an additional charge. Compensation cess was levied on certain goods and services in India designed to compensate states for potential revenue losses following the implementation of the GST, while largely merged into the new GST slabs. As of September 2025, it continues to apply to tobacco and tobacco-related products. So the purpose was to protect revenue for manufacturing heavy states, which were expected to lose tax income under the consumption-based GST system. The mechanism was revenue collected from the cess was put in a dedicated fund and disbursed to states based on a formula that projected 14% annual growth. Goods covered originally applied to luxury and thin goods, including luxury cars, aerated drinks, coal and tobacco products. The 56th GST Council meeting, it was a very important meeting, streamlined the tax structure, leading to the cess being integrated into a new consolidated GST rate for most luxury and thin goods. For example, luxury cars and aerated drinks are subjected to 40% GST, which includes the cess component. Now this cess is extended till March 31, 2026, but is solely focused on repaying loans the central government took during the COVID-19 pandemic. So remaining cess are still subjected to a separate compensation cess in addition to their GST rate. Cess will continue for these items until the outstanding loan and interest obligations are fully discharged. The bill has been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Now, the bill in its schedule details the different types of tobacco products, starting with unmanufactured tobacco refuse, which includes sun-cured country tobacco, tobacco for manufacture of bidis not stems, tobacco for manufacture of hookah, flue-cured Virginia tobacco. It also includes cigars, cheroots, cigarillos, and cigarettes of tobacco or of tobacco substitutes, including cigars, cheroots, cigarillos, cigars and cheroots, cigarettes containing tobacco, other than filter cigarettes, filter cigarettes of length, including length of the filter length being 11 millimeters or actual length, filter cigarettes of length, the length being 11 meters or its actual length. So all this will fall under this. And there are other manufactured tobaccos. For instance, water pipe tobacco, hookah in Guraku tobacco, smoking mixture for pipes and cigarettes, on which, any case, lot of tax is put. So, as I mentioned earlier, that this has been forced. Government has been compelled because the cess is going and government has to make up the revenue loss. Now, this brings me to the end of my deposition on my submission on the fiscal matter. But here, while speaking, both Purandeshwari ji from the ruling party and Karti Chidambaram from the opposition, they mentioned the moral question of the government depending on tobacco products for its resource mobilization. They mentioned how many people are affected by cancer due to tobacco. I have been a smoker myself. I'm trying to kick the habits because people say that you won't live for 5 years. if you can't kick the habit. So if this moral question is before the finance minister, the moral question is before
He
the
can
finance
become a
minister
brand ambassador
as
to create awareness.
whether yes, as to whether the government has any role in controlling the consumption of tobacco, in reducing the health problems, that the finance minister is silent about.
Sogat Dada,
Yes, sir.
time allotted is only 9 minutes for your party, and I have already given you 12 minutes.
Good thing.
नहीं
Good thing. I'm speaking sense. Why would we appreciate Jagdambika Pal unless she
Try to
encourages us?
2 more minutes, 2 more minutes.
So, this question remains whether fiscal instruments can be used to reduce consumption of tobacco. What alternative? Now there is only mention on the packet that cigarette smoking is injurious to health. Somebody writes, cigarette smoking can even cause death. Now what is...
Sogat Dada, you should not address to Nishikant Dubey ji. Only you address to
No,
finance
he's
minister.
not addressing. He's not talking to him.
Nishikant is the favored child of the ruling party. That's why I try to respond to him. He's a favored child. You'll see that he'll speak 4 times every day. So this question has been raised. The contrary opinion has been voiced by the Samajwadi Party. He said that so many people are dependent on tobacco. Purandeshwari mentioned 6 million tobacco farmers and 20 million tobacco workers. What will happen to them? They have to be found an alternative. I do not belong to the JDU, but Nitish Kumar took a bold decision to establish prohibition in Bihar, which gave him good electoral defeat. He must have lost revenue, but still he took that bold decision. Whether that has reduced illicit liquor in Bihar or not is a question to be probed. Now the same question is whether the finance minister can show courage, boldness, and take a moral stand. No. As finance minister, I do not want to
Kindly
encourage.
conclude.
I do not want to encourage smoking, any type of smoking, including cigarettes, including cigars, including hookah, including everything. That is the principal moral question being put before the finance minister. So while one cannot object to resource mobilization by the government, raising revenue, one must pose the question, where from this revenue will come? It seems that all governments, whenever there is shortfall in revenue, they delve into the question whether increasing price of cigarettes or churros that has reduced consumption of tobacco. So with this question, I leave it to the finance minister to respond to the moral question raised before her, whether by increasing
Thank you,
tax,
Sogat Raji.
the
Shri K. Veera Swami ji.
finance minister is encouraging or discouraging smoking.
Sir, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak on this Central Excise Amendment Bill of 2025, sir. Sir, the Honorable Finance Minister has explained very clearly about the need for this particular bill at this particular juncture, because the GST compensation cess, which has to come to an end and has come to an end, and this taxation has to be adjusted so that the revenue is not going to be lost. Sir, the earlier speaker from BJP, they had highlighted about the diseases that can be caused due to smoking. apart from the lung problems, I mean like COPD or bronchiectasis or cancers of the lung or oral cancers, you would be surprised to know that not only the lungs, sir, it also affects other organs, like it affects the eye. There is a condition called as tobacco amblyopia, which can affect your vision. And there are also cancers which can happen outside of the lungs, so there are multiple implications of this, sir. So particularly when it comes to passive smokers are, of course, they are inherently more affected because they are in a confined space. When they have a person who is smoking, they breathe very, very normally, which allows more time for the smoke to settle down into their lungs and create more problems. Sir, so many people had mentioned about the effects and how it should be curtailed and everything. And in fact, the member from Congress, when he had spoken, he said that increasing the prices of the taxes is not going to deter the smoker from stopping smoking, sir. I would like to mention that I have worked as a surgeon in hospitals, and in Tamil Nadu specifically, in southern India, we have a condition called as thromboangiitis obliterans, sir. This is a condition which affects the blood circulation of the legs. And this specifically occurs in people who smoke BDs. So if you note, in this hospital, I've seen hundreds of patients who smoke BDs who come up where they will end up with amputation of their legs, sir. So I have seen cases where they get amputated in one leg, but they continue smoking and then they lose the other leg. And I've seen the worst case where both the upper limbs also had to be amputated, and with the stumps he was still smoking the BD. So to say that increasing the price is going to deter people from smoking is an argument which I would definitely not accept, because even though they know that it is harmful for them, they do not have the motivation for doing that, sir. So I would like to bring it to the knowledge of this house, sir, that during the UPA government, they came out with one program for effectively curbing the smoking. They brought a law which made smoking in public places a criminal act. Sir, that has one single act has brought in so much of discipline amongst most of the, almost all places of this country, sir. And this is something which has happened internationally, because I've been traveling abroad, and everywhere the smoking in public has been banned. In fact, I would like to recall that in the Central Hall in the Parliament, there used to be an ashtray, sir. I mean, when I came here, I was told that there used to be an ashtray over there, and members used to be smoking over there. So now that this single act of banning smoking in public has made it possible for all the non-smokers, especially families, when they go for hotels, when they go for cinema theaters, when you step outside during a break, during an interval, you will find that the whole place is in like a movie scenario, sir, where they'll be fully filled up with fog and smog. So this is the kind of situation used to be there. So I would like to take this opportunity to tell this government, why not do something about ways of preventing people from smoking? So many people keep saying that raising taxes will not curb smoking. So I would like to give my suggestion. Each and every parliamentary constituency or each and every block, you make available a place where quitting smoking can be initiated. There are several medications, several formulations which are available for. You start that thing, then I will start with me. You first start doing this in all these places, and we will work on them.
Biraswamy, kindly address to the chair.
Yeah, sir, I would only request, sir, we have to understand, everybody has spoken about the ill effects of smoking, sir, and the amount of expenditure the nation incurs because of these smokers. It runs into several thousands, if not lakhs of crores. So I feel that investing back on our population to make sure that they have a smoke-free life, you should probably set up centers in each and every parliamentary constituency or in each and every block, where you say that you will be giving free medications for people who are motivated to stop smoking. If you do that, even if there is a 10 or 20% reduction, I feel that it will go a long way in improving the quality of life for not only the smoker, but also to his whole family and friends, sir. Sir, also, when we are talking about this excise duty, I am assuming that this is going to be going into the divisible pool where the other states also have to be benefiting out of this. Sir, I would like to say that this divisible pool is something where our Honorable Chief Minister has said that it should be increased from the present 41% to 50%. Sir, our Honorable Prime Minister, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has spoken so much about the differences and the inequalities where the union government has not provided enough for the state governments. So I would like to take this opportunity to insist that 50% of the union funds collected should be used for devolving to the states, where all the states will benefit from this, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sri Labu, Sri Krishna ji.
Sir, the previous speaker, Kalanidhi Veeraswamy, spoke very emotionally on this topic, but he's one of the person who
He's a doctor also, no? He's a surgeon.
He's a doctor, and he explained about all the ill effects of smoking, sir, but he still smokes 40 cigarettes a day, sir. That is the problem that that we have in this country. But let me tell you, sir, in the last 25
It is necessary to disclose on the floor of the House.
Yes, sir.
Is it necessary?
But in the last 25 years, sir, as a developed country, we have done exceedingly well in at least doing the anti-tobacco campaign aggressively across the country. I've seen in the last 25 years how a lot of changes have taken place. We used to see a lot of people smoking in the public, in the theaters and everything, but there's effective campaign that has been done and it has been brought back. And also at the same time, I remember there was a Grand Prix that was happening in India. Every car used to, in the F1 race, every car used to have the advertisement of a tobacco company and everything. But when it was happening in India, they had to make sure that those were removed. That aggressive campaign as a developing country we have done in the last 25 years. Sir. But still we need to do more of that. Sir, before I start on this speech, I want to compliment our finance minister, sir, on GST 2.0. It has brought the inflation drastically down. It has made a lot of goods cheaper. And not only that, sir, we have seen the numbers that have come out with regards to the GDP for this trimester, for this 3 months, which has been almost 8.2%. I don't see any other country, major economy, growing at that speed anywhere in the world. And that too, after 50% of the tariffs have been levied upon India, but still we are growing at 8.2%. 8.2%. So we are doing extremely well. So coming to the bill, I support this for two reasons. The first one is with regards to the significance of the excise duty that is there in this country. If you look at the numbers, there's almost the collection in 2021 to 22, there almost 3.9 lakh crores was collected under this, sir, and 22-23, 3.19 lakh crore was collected, and 23-24, it was reduced to 3.05. And there is a huge excise duty collection that has been happening. So I feel this is very much needed. And the reason that I want to support this is because it is actually from cess, it is coming into the divisible, which I think most of the colleagues from the opposition has been asking for a long time, that move the cess into the divisible so that states can get a lot of benefits. I think something that's good is happening. I hope everyone can compliment on that. So these are the two reasons that I want to support this bill, sir. But coming to I have some two grievances and one clarification. Clarification in the introduction itself, she has very much clearly clarified, Finance Minister. But coming to the two grievances, sir, the first one is the previous speakers have elaborated on the tobacco farmers and people that are dependent on tobacco growing as well as processing and everything, sir. So it was a peculiar condition in my state and in my constituency also this year. There was huge production that has happened in tobacco. A lot of people have turned to tobacco in the last crop year. And there's so much of production that has happened. On one side, we are actually doing an anti-tobacco campaign. We are trying to discourage them. We are trying to wean away tobacco farmers from tobacco farming to other crops. But on the other side, what has happened was there's huge production that has happened. So many farmers have actually participated in this. When I inquired further why this has happened, there are few firms like ITC and GPI. I know Agriculture Minister is here. He's trying to do the contract farming in various other crops. But I don't know how successful was that in other crops, but in this crop, in tobacco farming, the contractual farming has gone to a next level, wherein this ITC, GPA has actually gone in 24-25 season, gone to the farmers and signed the contracts with them saying, you grow it, we'll purchase it. That is what they said. You grow it and purchase it. And because of that, there's a huge percolation. In my constituency, normally there's a lot of chili farmers are there, cotton farmers are there, but they moved into the tobacco because these contracts were being signed. So because of that, once this huge production has come in, and these tobacco companies were said, no, we can't buy this, and brought the price drastically down. And the state government has to intervene, and state government has to purchase this tobacco. We spent 278 crores last year to purchase this tobacco so that the farmers won't get. So there's a contradiction that is happening. On one side, we are saying, let's not do this, let's not grow tobacco, let's take away tobacco farmers from the other, from this crop to the other crop. But on the other side, the state government has to come in and has to pitch in their money and have to purchase it. So I request the finance minister and the agriculture minister is also here. So we have put in this much money into this. We want you to work with these companies, ITCs and GPS, to make sure that farmers are not, led in this fashion. But on the other side, you please help our state also, because we have put in so much of money into this, so that if you can help us, because we are a cash-strapped state. And second one is with regards to the second grievance is with regards to the CSR funds these companies are spending, where they are spending. ITC, which is headquartered in my home constituency of Guntur, headquarters is based in Guntur, sir. ITC Agri headquarters. It earns around 22,000 crores every year, profits. And when I tried to inquire, where they are spending the CSR fund, where they are spending the CSR fund, they're spending it everywhere, but not actually with the farmers, not actually helping the farmers on the ground. So there's a total contradiction in what we are trying to do and what the companies are trying to do. So I request, the first thing is, talk to these companies, make sure that they don't give these false promises to the farmers. Second, talk to these companies and make sure the CSR fund, which they're supposed to spend in those villages where their farmers are there, to be spent on those villages and to the farmers. That will be helpful. I requested, you clarified it, ma'am, with regards to the proposed 70% duty on the unmanufactured tobacco on the HS code 2401. It was very clearly mentioned by you, and thanks for that. And I hope this will give a lot of relief to the small traders who are very much dependent on this, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Shri Kausalen Kumar ji. Shri Kausalen ji.
सभापति महोदय, आपने मुझे केंद्रीय उत्पाद शुल्क अधिनियम संशोधन विधेयक 2025 पर सदन में चर्चा में भाग लेने की अनुमति दिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सभापति महोदय, वित्त मंत्री जी केंद्रीय उत्पाद शुल्क अधिनियम 1944 में संशोधन का यह प्रस्ताव पेश किया है, जो समय के अनुरूप उपेक्षित है, और मैं इसका स्वागत करता हूं, क्योंकि जिस प्रकार से तंबाकू, सिगरेट, सिगार, हुक्का, जर्दा, पान मसाला आदि का उपयोग बढ़ा है, वह स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से काफ़ी नुकसानदायक है, और शायद प्रस्तावित हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी से नेशनल सिक्योरिटी सेस के माध्यम से उपकर लगाकर लोगों को जागरूक करने का काम करेगी। आशा है इन हानिकारक वस्तुओं का उपयोग कम होगा, यह हमारे स्वास्थ्य के लिए ही लाभकारी होगा। सभापति महोदय, यह बस प्रस्तावित बिल मौजूदा जीएसटी कंपेंसेशन सेस की जगह लेगा, जो अभी पान मसाला पर नया सेस लगेगा। प्रस्तावित विधेयक में उन मशीनों पर मंथली सेस लगने का प्रस्ताव है जो 2.5 ग्राम तक से लेकर 10 ग्राम से अधिक वजन वाले प्रति मिनट 500 पाउच तक उत्पादन करती है। उस पर भी मासिक उपकर 1 करोड़ रुपया से करीब 8.5 करोड़ रुपया तक होगा। जो मशीन प्राप्ति मिनट 101 से 1000 पाउच उत्पादन करती है, उस पर प्रति मशीन उपकर करीब 2 करोड़ रुपया से 17 करोड़ रुपया प्रति माह लगेगा। फिर 1001 से 1500 पाउच या उससे अधिक पाउच प्रति मिनट बनाने वाली मशीन पर उपकर प्रति माह अधिक हो सकता है। साथ ही मैनुअल प्रक्रिया वाली उत्पादन पर भी उपकर लगेगा। यह शेष एक गेटवे को खोल सकता है। उत्पादन करने वाली मशीन पर भी पहली बार टैक्स की व्यवस्था हो रही है, जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में चिंता का विषय हो सकता है। इस पर सरकार द्वारा पूर्ण रूपेण ट्रांसपेरेंसी प्रक्रिया की व्यवस्था करनी चाहिए। जब आप एक बार उत्पादन क्षमता पर उपकर लगा देंगे तो फिर उत्पादन की जांच कैसे होगा? यह तो इंस्पेक्टर को बहाल करना होगा, फिर इंस्पेक्टर राज आएगा, जो ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के लिए घातक हो सकता है। दूसरा, सरकार उत्पादन
अच्छा सुझाव दे रहे हैं,
की बात
अच्छा सुझाव दे रहे हैं, आप सुनिए।
अब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में प्रति माह मांग के अनुसार उत्पादन किया जाता है। अब जब मांग कम होगा तो स्वतः उत्पादन में कमी आएगी, किंतु उपकर तो दोनों ही होगा, जो कि उत्पादक के लिए हानिकारक होगा। सभापति महोदय, वैसे ही जैसे जीएसटी कानून बनाने के समय वर्ष 2017 में शेष लगाने के लिए मात्र 5 सालों का निर्णय लिया गया था, जो कोरोना के कारण वर्ष 2026 मार्च तक बढ़ाया गया था। अब फिर इस प्रकार का टैक्स तो अतिरिक्त बोझ हो सकता है। वैसे भी इस शेष से राज्यों को अलग रखा गया है। आशा है माननीय मंत्री जी अपने जवाब में इस पर विस्तृत जानकारी सदन और देश की जनता को देने का काम करेंगी। जैसी जानकारी मुझे है कि दिसंबर में राज्य सरकारों को मुआवजा देने के लिए कर्ज पूरा चुका दिया जाएगा और 2026 के समय सीमा के अनुसार शेष समाप्त किया जाना चाहिए, किंतु प्रस्ताव ने नए सेस और नए एक्साइज ड्यूटी लगाने का रास्ता खोल दिया है। माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तावित केंद्रीय उत्पाद बिल 2025 का समर्थन करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
श्री अनिल देसाई जी।
Central Excise Amendment Bill 2025, presented by Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji in this House, that is being discussed, and various speakers till now they have spoken on different subjects. The basic idea, or as it is given in the objects and reasons of the bill, that goes as per that compensatory cess which was being applied hitherto, that will discontinue, and in place of that, naturally, that excise duty will be applied and the tax incidence will be taken care of. No one in this House, I think, would support that tobacco and its products be encouraged for human consumption. What we have seen of years together, rather decades, and centuries too, that tobacco is harmful for human consumption, and steps on regular intervals are being taken by various governments to see that it is discouraged at every level. The issue is not about the excise duty which is being laid, which need to be in place, and I congratulate Finance Minister for doing that, because by that the compensatory cess or NCCT, that national calamity tax which was being taken up, which was being collected through this, that is going away, and with 40% of GST in addition to that, excise duty will be laid up and tax incidence is taken care of. But the issue what is being cited by other speakers also, that millions of farmers are there, though that number is a bit small compared to agrarian country that our economy is. But of course, I mean, labor also in that same proportion is dependent on that, and their livelihood is comes into question. The when we say that these issues are everywhere, but particularly if I speak about my state of Maharashtra, that Maharashtra, we have Vidarbha region, and in districts of Solapur and so, there are this kind of jungles are there of tobacco growing plants, and the leaves of the plant they are plucked up and brought together, and that is how the economy works over there. It may be in the form of unorganized economy or informal economy, I would say, that still exists and still prevalent in the state of Maharashtra. But it has a sizable number, and that also needs to be taken care of while coming out with the measures the government deems fit. This naturally, this should be discouraged, but at the same time, one thing I would like to bring it to the notice that along with the tobacco, that in the schools, colleges, the institutions, they are also dragged in a big way because students, young generation is trapped under this kind of menace of drugs, and that is also need to be looked into by the government. Apart from tobacco, tobacco causes pollution, tobacco causes environmental hazards, that is true. But at the same time, government should also pay heed to the environmental pollution apart from tobacco that is happening, kind of smog we are experiencing in Delhi, kind of that is being experienced in Maharashtra and Mumbai also. That also needs to be taken care of. We see that parts of Haryana and Rajasthan and all that farm burning of the buds in the farm, that with the wind it flows, the continuous smogging takes place. That is also vitiating, and that is also very detrimental to the health of the people of the country. That also needs to be discouraged at every level. There is nothing much to be mentioned about this because this is a welcome step which is being taken. And sir, it is out of context though that our Honorable Finance Minister is sparing no stone unturned to see that the Central Exchequer gets maximum of revenue from every corner possible. At the same time, I would request her that it is not a part of the bill or nothing to do with the bill, but general insurance industry, that time and again I have been after you and you were kind enough to show your consent also, but it is not happening. That general insurance employees, they are waiting for their wage revision. I think you will take cognizance of the fact and accord, which has already been accorded by you, which will in the coming few days, I think they will get a good news. And I commend the bill. Thank you.
Srimati Supriya Sule ji.
Thank you, sir. I stand here to speak on the tax bill, and I stand here on behalf of our party to support the Honorable Finance Minister's bill. Sir, I would like to just ask for a few clarifications from the Honorable Finance Minister. We all wholeheartedly support the bill, and that's the sense of the House today. But there are larger issues that I would like to ask her, and I think that's where I'd like to take the debate to, that what is really the objective of this bill? I appreciate you increasing the prices of it, but if you really look at it largely, what are the ministries who really need to be involved while implementing something like this? Is only our tax collection the incentive and the objective of this bill? Or are we looking at collecting tax? Nothing wrong. It's a legal way, and that's how countries run and development happens. At the same time, is health a high priority? Because the state I come from, sir, the Home Ministry, Finance, Health, Agriculture, and the Food and Public Distribution, these are 5 ministries which really need to work together in the larger interest of all the suggestions that have come from all the MPs. Sir, ours was the first state in the country which banned gutka. But I, with full humility, with a heavy heart, I must admit that in Maharashtra, gutka is available everywhere. And in plenty, not just in small quantities. We banned it, but it's there. So even if we do ban things is really the outweigh. I mean, I was a big one to say, ha, ban kar do, but now I think, was it a wrong decision? Should we have increased the tax? Would have been better than illicit gutka being distributed. And another angle, I appreciate what Krishna ji said in his speech. He made a lot of issues about ITC, the development, the CSR, but I would like to add a small point to that, sir, that in all these products, like using gutka or any tobacco products, they are not allowed to advertise. I appreciate the point of Professor Saugata Royji also said that make more signages on them. There are ample signages everywhere now, and smoking is not cool. Sir, I was in a generation where Bollywood movies showed the machoism was about smoking. But today's generation is exactly opposite. You're shamed if you're seen smoking. Even a movie, it says it's injurious to health. So I think society at large globally has done things like this to shame people from smoking. But unfortunately, what happens in all these brands, or any gutka brand, they look at other comfort products. Like there are gutka products, the name is the same with water. So they sell water, the brand is the same, but psychologically when you're watching that ad, you do realize कि ये गुटके वाला है, वही पानी बना रहा है, वही और 4 products बना रहा है, बिस्किट बना रहा है और पता नहीं क्या क्या बना रहा है. So the symbol is the same, the designing is the same. So indirectly, this soft advertising that all these gutka kings of India are doing, this is something we really need to look into. I don't know what the solution is to it, but we must do it because in the larger interest of all my friends, and I think it's the most wonderful debate today because Professor Saab and my friend Kalanidhi, who's not here just now, but both of them have spoken against smoking. So, you know, umeed pe duniya kayam hai. So I'm hoping that there will be a change even in them. But sir, I would like to ask a few questions to the Honorable Finance Minister that I appreciate her bringing the bill. But what's really alarming today is in Delhi, walking around in Delhi is like smoking 50 cigarettes a day. So I think I would urge her, and I even spoke to Bhupender ji the other day, I was fortunate enough to meet him in Parliament, that why don't you put a consensus in Parliament and give us targets? Give targets to every member of Parliament where we can help you assisting for all these larger social issues. Kabhi to raj chahiye. So can we do something for smoking? Can we do something for air pollution? So if you also give us some targets, I was praising him. I took Kalanidhi ji's name because I really appreciate his intervention.
He has shown his determination.
No, I hope he does something. And for all the solution that he has made for making pockets in every villages, if he gives us from Tamil Nadu a solution, we will implement it in Maharashtra to stop smoking.
I'll give solution for entire India.
And we are happy to take it and we'll give it your name also. But I think we can, if there is something we can together do for this, we'd be very happy. The Honorable Purandeshwari ji talked about welfare states. I appreciate her efforts. She's one of the finest parliamentarians we have. But sir, welfare state is, do we really want India to be a welfare state? I mean, I come from a state which recently had an election, and a program which the Honorable Shivraj Singh ji started in Madhya Pradesh, which was a very big success, was used in Maharashtra for Ladli Behnas. And it was effectively implemented before the election. But what happened to the welfare after election, पता नहीं. 25 लाख, ये शिवराज सिंह जी ने मध्य प्रदेश में नहीं किया, लेकिन महाराष्ट्र में हुआ. 25 लाख महिलाओं के नाम कम किए. So this whole welfare business, I don't know, is really the right way forward. So what really is the objective? I go back to my first point that what is the objective? Even the farmers issue. I appreciate Shivraj Singh ji's work. Sir, he was most kind to us when Maharashtra had huge, हमारे बहुत बारिश हुई. He was one of the ministers who reached out to our government, most helpful. He wanted to come and help us in our state. He himself said कि जो भी लगेगा हम यहाँ से दे देंगे. But it's unfortunate, I say this with a heavy heart, that Maharashtra government has still not sent him a proposal. महाराष्ट्र में कह रहे हैं कि कमेटी बनेगी, कभी उसका रिपोर्ट आएगा, उस पे क्या हो जाएगा? I really appreciate.
If you can yield to, I think.
Yes, please, I'll be happy to.
शिवराज सिंह
मैं केवल इतना निवेदन करना चाहता हूँ कि महाराष्ट्र की सरकार ने अभी जो त्रासदी आई थी, भयानक त्रासदी थी बाढ़ की, उसके बाद अपना प्रपोजल 27 तारीख को केंद्र सरकार को भेज दिया है. इतना केवल मैं करेक्ट कर रहा हूँ आपको, भेजा है महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने.
थैंक यू. आपको जब जानकारी रहेगी तो आपने, लेकिन अब आ
नहीं,
गया है।
कल का
उसकी
सवाल जो
जानकारी माननीय कृषि मंत्री जी ने दी थी।
नहीं, ये इनका बड़प्पन है, वो सरकार को बचा रहे हैं। क्योंकि आज ही मैंने कृषि मंत्री से बात की महाराष्ट्र में, उन्होंने कहा हमने कुछ रिपोर्ट नहीं भेजी अभी तक पूरी, हमारा एक सर्वे हो रहा है, उसके बाद कमेटी बनेगी, कमेटी के बाद रिपोर्ट आएगा।
माननीय
छोड़ देंगे अभी वो बात,
माननीय कृषि मंत्री जी ने ऑन रिकॉर्ड कहा है।
प्राकृतिक आपदाओं में मैं भी लगातार राज्य के संपर्क में रहता हूं, उन्होंने सचमुच में भेज दिया है।
चलिए,
बहुत उम्मीद है, महाराष्ट्र सरकार से नहीं होगी लेकिन उनसे है।
ये राजनीति है।
और दूसरा, कृष्णा जी ने जो कहा कि वी आर वन ऑफ द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी, वी आर हैप्पी इफ वी आर, बट आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू, मे बी ही मिस्ड आउट इन हिज रीडिंग कि IMF का एक नया रिपोर्ट आया है। मैं बड़ी विनम्रता से कहना चाहती हूँ
8.2% अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस।
हाँ, तो आई एम नॉट श्योर सर, आई एम वेरी कंफ्यूज्ड, आई एम नॉट अ फाइनेंस एक्सपर्ट, समझ में आता है उसमें। तो एक रिपोर्ट आई है सर, शायद वो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ही क्लैरिफाई कर सके कि पेपर में आई बात मैं कह रही हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता उसमें, बट IMF की रिपोर्ट आई है, उसमें कहा है कि आर सिचुएशन इज स्लाइटली डिफरेंट देन व्हाट कृष्णा जी वाज सेइंग। सो आई अप्रिशिएट एंड रिक्वेस्ट द ऑनरेबल फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर टू क्लैरिफाई, सो द वर्ल्ड नीड्स टू नो वेयर रियली India stands. And if the IMF report, which is downgraded, has given wrong information about India, we need to correct it to make